Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is raging after a Georgia judge shot down the possibility of an audit for the 2020 election in Fulton County. So now this is according to the Associated Press. Henry County Superior Court Chief Judge Brian Amaro ruled that the lawsuit that was launched by Trump supporters, claiming that, oh, there's voter fraud and that it invalidated our votes, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that lawsuit failed to allege a particularized injury, and therefore they had no standing to sue. So they threw out that lawsuit. That said, this is how Marjorie Taylor Greene reacted to the news on Steve Bannon's show. Take a look.
Absolutely devastating news for the Fulton County audit. The case has been dismissed for lack of standing, because they're saying that the plaintiffs could not establish that they had received injury. I want to say this right now, Steve. If wide open borders, a complete invasion at our border, the catastrophe in Afghanistan, arming the Taliban nation with $85 billion worth of our military equipment, abandoning Americans, you can't say that enough, killing 13 soldiers, rapidly rising inflation, and
no toys on the shelf, no food on the shelf, taking all your discretionary income and paying home heating fuel. That's not damage.
That's not injury.
That's not injury.
What is injury?
What is injury? Well, good question. I'm glad you asked, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So now, injury, being serious. Injury is defined by any harm done to a person by the acts or omissions of another. So it's very broadly defined, okay? Now, she is arguing that these 9 voters in Georgia were harmed personally because of the quote-unquote invasion at the border, which doesn't actually happen. It's not actually real. Leaving the Taliban equipment when we got out of Afghanistan, which, by the way, getting out of Afghanistan was a 100% right thing to do. And I had previously covered the reasons why this equipment was left back in Afghanistan right around the discussion of the pullout. And so the reason, of course, that they left all this equipment is because it wasn't worth bringing back. It was dilapidated. It was old. A lot of the stuff didn't work, or was just, again, not worth bringing back because it had been in service for many years, right? So a very long time. And so again, it would have actually cost more. It would have taken more time to get the equipment back out. And not only that, but they also weren't worried about the Taliban using it against us because, again, at that point, these vehicles and this equipment actually require a lot of maintenance. They require maintenance. They require a steady supply of fresh parts and technical know-how, none of which the Taliban actually possesses. Okay? And so it's going to, if it hasn't already, it will break down very shortly. You're not going to be seeing, Taliban soldiers riding around Humvees. Okay? They're already going back to their Toyota trucks. All right. So the whole argument from Marjorie Taylor Greene and the right wing about, oh, we left all this equipment over for the Taliban and they're going to use it against us, not rooted in reality at all. At all. So that said, none of that constitutes, under the law, an injury to these 9 people, to any of the voters, Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? So now, I hate to break it to you. This is, according to federal law, legal actions cannot be brought simply on the ground that an individual or group is displeased with a government action or law, which is what this case is, basically. Turns out federal courts only have constitutional authority to resolve actual disputes, not like, I'm mad that my guy did not win, and we're just going to blame it on voter fraud, even though we have no evidence that voter fraud actually happened. In fact, in Lujan versus Defenders of Wildlife, this is a 1992 Supreme Court case, the court had actually created a 3-part test to determine whether a party has standing. The plaintiff must have suffered an injury in fact, meaning that the injury is of a legally protected interest, which is A, concrete and particularized, and B, actual or imminent. There also must be a causal connection between the injury and the conduct brought before the court, and it must be likely rather than speculative that a favorable decision by the court will address that injury. And of course, the court had found that basically this suit met none of those qualifications. None. In his dismissal, Amaro wrote, the plaintiffs alleged their votes have been diluted due to the substantial likelihood that fraudulent ballots were introduced during the ballot processing for the general election. They also alleged the issue will persist in future elections if not corrected. However, regardless of the veracity of these allegations, the court finds that petitioners have still failed to allege a particularized injury. Not only that, but this ruling comes one day after investigators found no evidence of ballot fraud in Georgia. And by the way, Georgia has done 3 audits of the 2020 election, including a Henry account, which produced no evidence of widespread fraud. There's just no evidence. None. None at all. No evidence, no standing, no case. Real simple. Real simple. But no, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to go on and she's going to just word salad.
And that is the direct results of election fraud. Everybody knows it. We need full forensic audits, and it is unforgivable that these things have not happened in Republican-run states. Absolutely unforgivable. Here's what we have to do, Steve. I'm going to tell you guys, here's what you have to do. People, you have had wonderful lives. We have been the most blessed nation in the history of the world. We've been the most blessed people. I mean, if you're a woman listening to this show, you know a washing machine is a blessing. A dishwasher is a blessing. A car is a blessing. All of our lives, television, radio, everything we have. Cell phones, these are blessings. We have got to stop being lazy. We have got to stop saying we're too busy. We have got to stop saying, oh, but we go to work. Let me tell you, I know what we all do. We go on vacations. We go and have wine with our girlfriends. We go hunting and fishing, and we have our hobbies. If we're able to have all these wonderful hobbies and these great lives, then we're able to take time out and hold Congress accountable. The people, there's 435 of them. That's not a lot of people when it's compared to all of you. We have to stop this unbelievable Green New Deal. The Green New Deal is the destruction of America. It's communism, and it's not just about electric vehicles. It's about socialist programs.
Okay. Well then, you know what's amazing? All of those words, all of that, and she still said basically nothing. And then it's like starts going into like, oh, I can't believe, washing machine, blessing, all this stuff, cell phone, absolute blessing. Yes. By the way, communism is coming. Yes, communism. Yes. Seriously though. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Green New Deal. It's not just electric cars, vehicles. It's communism on the side. Where do you start? I mean, that was probably the most dumb word salad I've ever seen. I mean, you know, here's the thing though. Having that stuff, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have that stuff. Having please clothes is nice. Having, a phone is nice. A cell phone, great. Yeah, having the internet is nice. Hey, why not make sure, and I got an idea here, why don't we make sure, why doesn't Marjorie Taylor Greene spend her time advocating for Americans to have higher wages so that we can all afford to have the bountiful blessings of the United States? What? Why don't we do that? That would be a great idea. Hey, all this stuff is wonderful. Let's make sure everyone can afford it. Boost wages. Raise the minimum wage. $20 an hour, 22, 23. And then everybody can afford a dishwasher or washing machine. But wouldn't that be great? No, of course not. You know why? She'd call that communism. So basically, oh, it's good for you, a blessing for me, but anybody else, no, you can't have it. You're communism. Communism. So I don't know where she was going with that, but that's ridiculous. The point is, though, if you do not have standing and you cannot prove injury, then you cannot sue. And that's what happened here. Your lack of knowledge on how the courts, the law, the Constitution actually works, I mean, it makes you look really stupid, for one. And it also makes you incredibly ineffective, which, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is literally going to be considered the most ineffective member of Congress. And already that's a super low bar. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's because she doesn't do anything. She got kicked off all her committees because she's insane, and then goes and spends all of her time on Steve Bannon's podcast. And that's it. And by the way, about the lawsuits, right? So a couple of you are making some pretty good points in the chat. And, you know, is this considered a frivolous lawsuit? Because it seems like it. Now, I thought Republicans are against frivolous lawsuits. Oh, we need tort reform. We need tort reform. We need it bad. I remember Rick Santorum was like, oh, tort reform, tort reform, tort reform. We need tort reform. I mean, there was a rage like 5 years ago. All they could talk about is, oh, we need tort reform. Frivolous lawsuits. Bad, bad, frivolous lawsuits. Oh, you're only against frivolous lawsuits when it involves big corporations and consumers getting hurt with faulty products or bad products or rushed products. But not when it comes to you and your ridiculous fantasies of overturning an election. Look, this isn't about facts. It's not about the law. It's about their feelings. Always, always about their feelings. They believe, I mean, they have to. They have to believe that 2020 was stolen because it's now considered part of their identity as a conservative, as a Republican. That just proves that this is no longer a political party, but just a cult. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.